Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. We'll bring you the latest on that fatal rock slide in Banff National Park. And as more of us take to the outdoors this summer, we're asking, how do you plan and prepare for the risks? We'll take your calls and we'll talk to an outdoor photographer and BC Adventure Smart about what to keep in mind to stay safe. And Brian Minter will be here. He'll have some tips for getting your fall crops in the ground. As always, he's taking your gardening questions. I'm Michelle Elliott. Welcome to BC Today. First, let's bring you the latest on yesterday's deadly rockfall in Banff National Park. 2 people are now confirmed dead in the massive rock slide that struck numerous hikers near Bow Glacier Falls. Officials say one of the deceased is a 70-year-old Calgary woman who was found dead at the scene. The body of the second victim was recovered this morning. 3 others were transported to hospital by air and ground ambulance. All are in stable condition. Bow Glacier Falls is located about 3 kilometers to the southwest of Bow Lake in Banff National Park. It is accessible via a popular hiking trail. The incident was reported at about 1:30 p.m. yesterday when Lake Louise RCMP were notified that multiple hikers had been caught in a rockfall. Parks Canada, the Lake Louise Fire Department, Stars Air Ambulance, the RCMP, and Emergency Management Services responded to the scene. In a press release this morning, Parks Canada says there are no additional persons missing. Ellie Jackson was hiking near the falls with her 2 dogs when that rock shelf gave way. She told CBC what she heard and what she saw and how she jumped in to help.
I was facing away from the falls when I heard just kind of a cracking sound, and I knew immediately what that sound was rock, but how loud the crack was, I looked over my shoulder and the whole sheet of rock was coming off, and it looked like a multi-story building, and it just came down with such force and exploded. And without hesitation, I got up and just started running. I grabbed my backpack and had my camera in my hand and my dogs, and I just ran as fast as I could, as far as I could away from it. I bring a first aid kit. I have like a tourniquet, a splint, a bunch of stuff to help people. I had an emergency blanket, and luckily other people did as well. And we tried to move people out of the area where it was still, I thought it was too dangerous to still be where they were, because I went back up to help them. And so if there's a secondary fall, I didn't want to be in that position because more people would probably get hurt. So we moved them as far as we could to where it was safe and kind of flat. And then we just tried to treat the 3 people that we could at the time there. I can't believe how many people came together to help and do whatever they possibly could with their abilities and the equipment that they had to help.
Well, Parks Canada said Bow Lake and the trail to Bow had reopened as of this morning, but Bow Glacier Falls remains closed to all visitors, and a no-fly zone remains in place. Now, as I mentioned, Bow Glacier Falls is a popular and accessible tourist attraction in Banff National Park. And many visitors, of course, go to Banff from BC. So we'd like to hear from you as you make your summer plans for outdoor recreation, whether in BC or Alberta or elsewhere in Canada. How are those outdoor risks influencing how you plan or prepare? What do you do to stay safe? What are your safety strategies? Our numbers are 1-800-825-5950, 604-669-3733. You can also hit pound 690 on your cell phone. Our email address is bctoday@cbc.ca. I have 2 guests with me now. Sandra Riches is Executive Director of BC Adventure Smart, which is a national education program for people participating in outdoor recreation activities. Matt Massa is a travel and adventure photographer who posts on Instagram at This Matt Exists. Hello to you both. Thanks so much for joining us.
Hi, Michelle. Thanks for having us.
Sandra, it's terrifying to listen to what Ellie described there. You know, what she heard with the cracking, what she saw when she turned around. What goes through your mind hearing about this rock slide?
The first thing that popped into my mind was how unique this situation was. I also want to share our condolences to those who've passed and wish good healing to those who are mending. It was a unique situation, there's no question. And at BC Adventure Smart, we're always talking about personal preparedness and group dynamics and what to do in an emergency. I've yet to really speak to someone in this situation, in this unique experience that they had.
What makes it so
And
unique?
we always fall back to our trifecta of safety.
Okay. What makes it unique?
Well, that it wasn't easily forecasted. That it wasn't easily forecasted. We didn't know if it was going to happen. A situation where the hikers were unaware of the situation and the conditions in that terrain.
Okay. Why do you think that was? What made it not easily forecasted? What was unique about the specific conditions of this slide that you can talk about?
I think to winter conditions, when we have avalanche conditions and there's forecasters that allow us to understand the hazards for traveling in certain terrain during the winter time, and that's updated by Avalanche Canada. So we're aware as we head into that terrain based on those conditions. In the summertime, we can do our research and trip plan and see when there's snow at higher elevations, if there's trail hazards or trail work being done, and routes that we should take safely to reach our destination, which is home, by the way. This was a unique one, again, as I said earlier, that it was not forecasted. And how would we have known this was going to happen in that situation?
How easy is it to do that? I know that with avalanche risk, there are warnings and there are conditions as described by Avalanche Canada. How easy is it to be able to determine what the risk of rockfall is and to forecast it?
That's the message I'm sharing, in the sense that I don't know how that would have been forecasted. In what I've learned as well through news as well, this was a unique situation based on that it wasn't forecasted to be a hazardous area, and not monitored that way. So the hikers went there based on their interest and love of an area and being outdoors. And again, this was a very unique situation.
And Matt, you've actually traveled to this area at Bow Lake. Can you describe for us why people do love it? What does it look like, and how popular is it?
Yeah, absolutely. First, I'd like to just say my thoughts and prayers are with the affected families, and I hope everyone gets out safe. It's a very beautiful area. There's a reason why it's so popular. It's very accessible, and that does bring more danger, the accessibility. People that might not be the most prepared can wander off and things can happen. So it's always important to be prepared, plan ahead, know your route. Yeah.
I'm going to put out the phone numbers and just ask people what goes through your mind hearing about this rockfall that has killed 2 people, as confirmed now, in Banff National Park. When you think about the risks of outdoor recreation, how do you plan and how do you prepare? Give us a call, 1-800-825-5950, 604-669-3733. You can also hit pound 690 on your cell phone. Our email is bctoday@cbc.ca. And my guests are Matt Massa, who's a travel and adventure photographer posting on Instagram at This Matt Exists, and Sandra Riches is, of course, executive director of BC Adventure Smart, which is an education program for outdoor recreation. And Sandra, I'm really just still thinking about that description from the witness, from Ellie Jackson, and hearing her say that I heard this really loud cracking sound. Can you describe what is actually happening when a rock falls away from a mountain?
Well, I think we can all envision a landslide, a rock slide, and what we've all seen on the news, and compare that, if you will, to an avalanche and the snow coming down as well off of a mountain, and the mass of the mountainside coming down to those that might be below. We know what can happen in an avalanche situation in relation to that snow load coming down, depending on the type of avalanche that it is, and how we prepare for that is very unique and very specific, with the training that we all take and educate others to take as well before they head into avalanche terrain. At BC Adventure Smart, I'll mirror what the other guest said too. The preparation is key, and the group dynamics are critical in any situation, and they all play a role as you plan for your adventure. Assess the group's skills and abilities and knowledge. Make sure you pair off and make sure you're always looking out for another, and talk about this before the adventure about what to do in an emergency. Come up with an emergency, make up one. You can use the top 3 reasons for search and rescue in British Columbia as your scenarios. First one is injury. Talk about what you would do and how you would manage and assess an injury in your group. What would you do if someone got lost or disoriented, or if someone exceeded their abilities? Those are the number 3. Those are 3 of the top reasons for search and rescue in British Columbia. The group dynamics are critical, and that easy access can really give enthusiasts a false sense of security, and that unawareness of certain terrain and conditions plays a role as well. So there's lots to fold into as you plan for your adventures, but I'd like to remind everyone, please talk about what ifs. What if someone gets lost? What if someone is injured? What if someone does exceed their abilities? And talk about what you're going to do in that situation.
Yeah, that's really important. And Matt, I know, thankfully you've not come across a situation, a concerning situation, but you've certainly thought about it and planned for it. And tell me what goes through your mind, what your thought process is as you plan.
Yeah, thankfully, I've never been in an emergency situation, but it is something that has to be front of your mind when you're going out into the backcountry. Some things I do to prepare is I study the map of the trail before. All Trails is a great resource for this. It allows you to actually download a map of the trail and use it offline to reference. Keeps you on trail, and it'll actually notify you if you do wander off trail. That's the biggest thing for me, is studying the route and know what you're getting into before you go. Packing extra layers in case you spend more time than you anticipated out there. A little bit extra food too. There's, stuff like that. Leave no trace is also a thing that you should be front of mind as well. But in terms of safety, I think knowing the route and knowing the trail, knowing what you're getting into before you go out is critical.
Okay. Let's take a call now as we ask you, what are the preparations? How do you plan for outdoor recreation when you hear about risks of things like rockfall? And this is in light of a deadly rockfall in Banff National Park. Asking you for your thoughts. How do you plan or prepare for outdoor recreation yourself? What are your own safety strategies? Interesting to hear about, asking the what ifs and understanding the group dynamics as well. So let us know how you take those into consideration when you make your plans. 1-800-825-5950, 604-669-3733. Ian is on the line in Victoria. Hi, Ian. Yes, go ahead. How do you plan for your own backpacking trips or heading out into the backcountry?
Oh, hi. Thanks for taking my call. One thing that I've always felt that is very, very important is to be prepared to abandon your ambition. As you carry on, you may encounter situations that are dangerous or possibly dangerous, and many, many people will say, well, we really want to get to the top of that ridge, that summit, that lake, but there's a sketchy situation in between. You have to be prepared to say, can't do it, and turn around and go back. And many people, unfortunately, will say, well, to heck with it, we're going to go anyways. And this is a really bad idea. You have to think also that most accidents occur on the return. There's a sense that once you got to that summit, that ridge, the accomplishment is done, and all we have to do is get back. No, you're only halfway there. And on the return, the day's getting short, it's getting colder, getting dark, and you're tired, perhaps dehydrated. And if you're coming down a hill, going up a hill is muscle work, coming down a hill is tendon work.
Absolutely.
And many people aren't really prepared for that, and so you can get twisted limbs and what have you. And always stick to the trail. No shortcuts. But most important is, if you come up, if you're going up, you're really have an ambition of getting to your destination, but say you come to a snow slope, there's water pouring underneath, you don't know how melted out it is, just as an example, don't do it. You have to be prepared to be disappointed and say, we just can't do it, turn around, go home, and find something else to do.
Have you had to make that decision yourself, Ian?
Oh, heavens, yes. Heavens, yes. Yeah, big cliff, springtime, snow slope, water pouring down. It's underneath. You do not know how melted out. You can't tell. It may be a foot, it may be an inch. And even if you can get across it on the way up, it's continuing to melt the whole time that you're up there, and you have to calculate how melted out it is on the way back. There are no guardrails. That nature does not care. It really does not care. The one thing about nature is it's completely indifferent. And don't let your ambitions get ahead of your wisdom.
Wow, such wise words, Ian. Thank you very much. Don't let your ambition get in the way of your wisdom. And glad you've made those calls, when safety became a question. That's Ian in Victoria. Yeah, what are your thoughts? I can see both of my guests nodding along. Matt, have you had to do that yourself? Say, nope, this is just seems a little too risky. I'm going to need to turn around here.
Absolutely. Yep. I've made a lot of those calls before. For a variety of reasons, snow coming in, clouds coming in. It hurts, in the moment. You really want to get to the top and you really want to, get that epic photo, but you got to keep safety in mind. And, if your gut's telling you, maybe I shouldn't do this, you should probably listen to your gut.
And Sandra, what about for yourself? What was going through your mind listening to Ian there? Oh,
And I
pardon me. Go ahead. Yes.
Ian hit the nail on the head, and I agree with Matt that there's no question about that. Everything they said was completely correct. And using that sound judgment to make those decisions, have that group chat. Again, this applies to your trip planning as well. What do we do if we get partway and something happens and we need to turn around? Weather conditions, injury, someone didn't have breakfast, whatever the reason is. Have those discussions in your trip plan so that when you have them on the trail, you've already reviewed it a little bit and everyone's open to the conversation and come up with those scenarios again. And using your sound judgment to turn around and save it for another day is very smart. It's a good decision. And as the caller said, the peak, the summit, that's only halfway. We always talk about reaching our destination and remind everybody that our destination is home.
Yeah, you said that earlier too, right? Yes, your destination is home, and think about your own mental and physical state as you're traversing downwards. You're going to need everything, your wits about you as well for that part of the trip. Thank you so much, Ian, for that. I want to ask you as well, we have an email here from Perry who writes, my condolences to the people and families who were injured at Bow Falls. However, rockfall in the mountains is not a unique or unusual event, especially in the Rockies and especially during freeze and thaw cycles. And I know, Sandra, you were talking about just how this was not something they could have predicted given the situation there right now. But yes, I have been reading about how common rockfall can be in the Rockies. Some people call it the Rotten Rockies for that reason. And this time of year, are there more risks, given we're just out of the spring thaw?
Yeah, valid points. And my point to the uniqueness of it was the hikers in the area and the incident that happened.
Yes.
In relation to the slides that do happen naturally in the wilderness and the outdoors, and especially in that terrain, in that region of Canada. Not unique in that sense, but unique in relation to that the hikers were in that region and that this was an unfortunate incident.
Are you seeing any changes given the impact of climate change on the way snow melt is happening and what's happening with rock faces? Are things changing when it comes to the conditions on the mountains as a result of climate change, Sandra?
I think on a whole, we're facing different conditions, different circumstances, and it's making it very unique for enthusiasts to plan ahead for unusual situations and unusual weather. And I know we've hosted a few expert guests in our webinar series over the seasons, and we've talked to guests about climate readiness is how we've titled it. Specifically to wildfires is one that comes to mind, and how hikers have been caught by wildfires. They've gone out for an adventure, a hike, and conditions change. And I can't say enough about our first T of our 3 Ts, which we call the trifecta of safety. That trip planning piece is critical to your safety. And folding in those pieces of climate readiness, if it's flood water, if it's swift water, if it's melt freeze, if it's avalanche conditions, if it's wildfires, limited visibility, the list goes on, and the list is different now than it was years ago. And I think as we adjust with Mother Nature's new trends, we need to be a little bit more prepared. It puts a lot more onus on us as outdoor enthusiasts in one of the provinces in Canada that has the most search and rescue calls.
And good to note as well the flood risk there in BC. There have been issued flood watches throughout parts of the southern interior, the southeast, and the Cariboo as well, and high stream flow advisories for the Peace region. So it's a really good reminder for what we're dealing with here in BC. Let's take in one quick call here from. Let's go to Golden, and Kathy is on the line. Yeah, Kathy, you spent quite a bit of time in the mountains, I imagine.
Yes, we do. My husband and I hike quite a bit. I just wanted to make a few quick points. Definitely tell other people where you're going. Our daughter lives here too, so whenever we go hiking, we always say, okay, we're going up this mountain. We should be back by this time, and if we're not there, then come looking. And we take a Zoleo device, which is something, if you're in an area where there's no service, a lot of places around here, there's no service. Mm-hmm. So you can't phone anybody at 911 because you don't have any way to do that. So the Zoleo is a way to do that as a backcountry backup to be able to call to somebody when you have a problem. And the other thing is, about 6 years ago, we had to rescue a woman off of a mountain because she developed heat exhaustion, and we needed electrolytes. We didn't have any electrolytes in our pack. Wow. But if you just have a small little pill that you add to water, we had lots of water to give her, but she needed more than that. She needed those electrolytes
to rehydrate. Kathy, I'm going to jump in. Yeah. I'm going to come back to you, but I'm going to also just let our TV audience know that we'll be pausing for a TV break, for an ad break. But we will be back with you in 2 minutes from now.
Okay.
And Kathy, yes, you're right. And I just want to go back to your point about the Zoleo. This is a satellite communication device.
Yes.
Okay. So just want to make that clear for people if they're listening and then they're thinking, what is that device? And you're saying as well, keep electrolytes because water isn't enough if you are dehydrated.
Well, we had a lot of water with us. We always bring extra water because the area we were in, there were no streams, and we knew that it was a hot, hot day. And this woman was a very experienced hiker as well, but she just didn't think to do that and ran out of water, and her daughter didn't have any left, so we tried to help her out. We had to get the helicopter to come in and hijack her out of there, get her out. And she ended up in the hospital overnight, but she made it. But if we had electrolytes, I think it would have been a lot better situation for her.
Would have been helpful. Yeah. Kathy, really good to hear from you. Thank you so much for calling in.
Okay, thank you.
You too. Take care. That's Kathy in Golden. Let me just ask you, Sandra, I know you have the 10 essentials that is posted on your website. We are running the list alongside our screen here as well, but perhaps you can just quickly go through them for people.
Really important. And we talk about trip planning, training, and taking the essentials. Those are our 3 T's. And the essentials are critical. They're the foundation of your pack, the foundation of your preparation. And then don't forget to add season and sport-specific and personal items. So the summary of them is a light source, flashlight, headlamp is great, a fire-making kit, as long as you know how to use it and use it safely, depending on the conditions and the hazards. Signaling device, that can be a mirror and or a whistle. Extra food and water, the key to that is extra for your adventure in case of an emergency. Extra clothing, always synthetic, never cotton. Navigation and communication devices. Your caller makes a great point. We just did a webinar about communications devices and technology. You can find that on the BC Search and Rescue Association's YouTube, and it was all about Zoleo. It's a great primary communications device, and your cell phone is your secondary means of communication. The list continues with a first aid kit, emergency shelter, utility knife or pocket knife, and sun protection. And then again, don't forget the season and sport specific. Gaining higher elevation right now, I'd still like to have maybe a pair of gaiters to protect the lower parts of my shoes and boots. Hiking poles, personal items could be specific food, dietary needs, medication, glasses.
And so for those of you who are just joining us, Sandra Riches with BC Adventure Smart, going through the 10 essentials there, but also saying some season-specific items and personal items as well that you need to keep with you. But in terms of the 10 essentials, a light source, a flashlight, a fire-making kit, and make sure you know how to use it, a signaling device. Our caller mentioned Zoleo, which is a satellite communicator. Food, water, extra clothing, a navigation and communication device, and first aid kit, as well as an emergency blanket or shelter, pocket knife, and sun protection. And you can also go to adventuresmart.ca for that list. And let me wrap up here with Matt Massa. And Matt, I know that you post a lot on your Instagram, and I'm wondering, of course, we know that because of social media, more people who may not be experienced are heading out into the outdoors. What advice would you have to make sure that they're also educated and prepared for doing so?
Yeah, pretty much everything that the other person was saying. Just know the route, pack more than you need. A satellite communicator is really good to have one of these. It weighs nothing. You just throw it in your bag. You just forget about it, and you only need to use it if something happens. Just like everything she said, light, fire-making kit, know how to use it. That's another big thing, is know how to use your kit.
Yeah.
It's one thing to just throw it in your bag, but when push comes to shove and it's time to use it, you got to know how to use it.
Yeah, here's to staying safe in the outdoors. Thank you so much, both of you, for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
That's Sandra Riches, Executive Director of BC Adventure Smart, which is a national education program for people participating in outdoor recreation activities. Matt Massa is a travel and adventure photographer who posts on Instagram at @ThisMattExists. It's 12:32 now. You're with BC Today here on CBC. I'm Michelle Elliott, and coming up, Brian Minter will be here to talk about what you could be planting right now in time for fall. And as always, he will take your questions about gardening. Right now, it is time for a CBC News Update with Rob Zimmerman.
Good afternoon. The provincial government is promising to crack down on violent repeat offenders. Public Safety Minister Gary Begg says a police program that focuses on violent repeat offenders is getting a $6 million boost, bringing its total funding to $17 million. Begg says the program helped bring a 27% drop in violent crime in Vancouver's Hastings Crossing area. Questions are being raised over an additional $5 million from the City of Vancouver's budget that went to Task Force Barrage. The money is to help fund police efforts to tackle crime and improve public safety in the downtown east side. City Councillor Pete Fry says the project's funding wasn't approved by Council. And Environment Canada has issued severe thunderstorm watches and special weather statements for heavy rain for a large section of southeastern BC. The advisory says conditions are favorable for severe thunderstorms that could produce heavy rain and flash flooding. And now taking a look at the forecast on the north coast. Sunny this afternoon with a high of 17. Highs to 17 with a chance of showers in the Peace. In the central interior, including Prince George, mainly cloudy with a high of 21. Highs to 18 with a chance of showers and thunderstorms in the Kootenays. In the southern interior, including Kelowna, a high of 22 with showers and a risk of severe thunderstorms. And for Metro Vancouver, Greater Victoria, and the Fraser Valley, highs to 16 with showers this afternoon, rain starting tonight. That's your CBC News Update from Vancouver.
Thank you so much, Rob. That's Rob Zimmerman in the CBC Vancouver newsroom. And thanks for joining us on CBC Radio 1, CBC Television, live streaming as well on CBC's News app and on our CBC British Columbia YouTube page. Lots more on today's top stories coming up on the afternoon shows on your CBC Radio 1 network. And here's what's coming up on the Coast.
Hello, Michelle. It's Jason D'Souza here. Coming up on the coast this afternoon, the Lower Mainland has seen a string of distraction thefts targeting seniors. One of the victims had a necklace ripped right off of his neck in the residential neighborhood of Kerrisdale. We'll hear much more about that. And it is a Friday afternoon. And before we head into the weekend, we'll hear from our pop culture columnist, Rad Simon Pillay. On the Coast begins at 3 o'clock.
That's Jason D'Souza, who's guest hosting in the Lower Mainland this week on the Coast. He will be back soon enough with All Points West. Don't you worry, over there in Victoria. Yesterday on the show, Vancouver and Victoria, in fact, are 2 of 9 municipalities calling on the province to legislate housing as a human right. We spoke with a Vancouver City Councillor, Sean Orr, about that and got these emails. Yvette writes from Comox, I just want to add we have to be mindful of our larger home, the environment. I worry that in a rush to build homes, we're taking out the trees that provide us with clean air to breathe and mitigate the effects of climate change. In the Comox Valley, I see developers who rush to clear a lot before they build so-called affordable houses. Brad writes from Nelson, so how do you plan to pay for this right? Canada runs a $60 billion deficit. BC runs a deficit. Our priority should be paying our bills. Don't make our grandchildren suffer because of our lack of fiscal responsibility. Thanks for your thoughts. BC Today at cbc.ca. The lines are filling up, so do call in now. Brian Minter is here to share gardening advice and to take your questions. Our numbers are 1-800-825-5950, 604-669-3733, or just hit pound 690. You can also email your questions, bctoday@cbc.ca. And Brian joins me now from Country Garden Limited in Chilliwack. Hi, Brian. Happy rainy day.
Yes, Michelle, and also another issue is this is the longest day of the year, and here we're not even to July yet, and the days tomorrow are going to start getting shorter. In terms of gardening,
yes,
that's a concern. It really is. But one of the things that I think it's important to point out right now that so many of us really love to have the fall going into winter food in our garden, which is really important. Have it during this, late spring and summer, but what about fall? And this is a perfect time of year for folks to start thinking about planting different types of plants that you can leave in the ground over winter, but certainly in the Lower Mainland, and be able to enjoy over a longer period of time. Things like parsnips, which are now becoming very much in vogue. It's one of the new ones. Brussels sprouts. We have so many folks in the program never seem to get the Brussels sprout thing right. We put them in too early or too late. Now is a good time to put them in to make sure you've got wonderful sprouts to enjoy for all your Thanksgiving and Christmas dinners. Mm-hmm. And turnips is still very, very popular. And but winter squash is really the big one in terms of what folks are looking forward to. They're so good. We don't want the giant ones anymore. We want a decent size like the acorn squash, the butternut, the buttercup, the kabocha. Those are all squash that are nice to be able to, either cut in half and enjoy twice or a longer period of time. But, when you harvest those, basically getting into end of September, going to October, you've got them all winter long to be able to enjoy. And they're wonderful and fresh and nutritious and all that sort of stuff. They're nice to have as well. Another little tidbit here, pumpkins. If you have children, that's a must-have in the garden. No question. It's a relationship to gardens in many cases. But for those of you who love to do a little bit of design work and make autumn a really special place in terms of your front porch and so on, don't forget the designer pumpkins. I mean, orange is nice, but what about white? What about pink? What about this beautiful tan color? What about yellow? All new colors of pumpkins that folks love to have for your fall decor. It's something that's really, really special. And don't forget, pumpkins are edible too. All those new varieties are actually delicious for baking and so many different items as well. So again, here we are, longest day of the year, first day of summer, and a perfect time to be thinking about planting fall and winter. It's just a little thing that I think is really important.
Yeah, absolutely. The timing is right now to think ahead. Brian Minter with me, who is, of course, our gardening columnist here on the program, and taking your questions too. 1-800-825-5950, 604-669-3733, or just hit pound 690. David has been waiting in Nanaimo to ask questions about some tomatoes that don't look very happy, David?
They don't indeed. I'm outside with my tomatoes, and it's droopy. I got a row of tomatoes. One is very droopy.
Oh.
And
now, David, what varieties of tomatoes are you growing? Just a number of different varieties? Early grow? Good for you. That's one of the best, David. Now, when you say drooping, like drooping because it's a little bit dry and they're wilting, is that the situation?
So I watered carefully yesterday, and it hasn't recovered at all. So they hadn't really gotten that dry.
Oh, okay. There's only two reasons that a tomato would wilt. Number one is a drought, as we talk about, that they will droop. It sometimes takes them a day to recover from that, David, which is very, very important. And the other one is they've gotten too wet, that the roots are rotting and they're going backwards a little bit. Best thing you could do right now is I would just dig down with a little trowel right down to see if you got nice white roots down lower, because tomatoes bounce back. They're wonderful little things in terms of getting them back in shape. So I would take a look at the roots. You'll also have a chance to look at the dryness of the soil down low, or if it's really wet, you'll be able to tell. But do a little search. And the other thing is, are you feeding them right now?
I haven't fed them for a while.
Okay. I think at this time, tomatoes are heavy feeders. The two things you want to do right now, David, one is lime them. Get some lime, because we will need that calcium a little bit later to prevent blossom end rot. And that would give them, whatever you're using. There's tomato foods out there, lots of them, even slow release fertilizer like a 14-14-14 that feeds daily, every day. But David, honestly, this is a temporary thing. Dig down, see what the roots are like, and then take the appropriate action. But honestly, because we grow thousands of tomatoes in all different situations, they will recover, David, honestly.
There you go.
That's not a disease wilt.
No, not in tomatoes. I've not seen that or in any situation. And dealing with so many people and the tomato issues, that's not been one of them. So I think you're okay there.
Okay, lots of hope for you.
Very reassuring. Thank
yes,
you.
that's right. It is reassuring. Check those roots and get to the feeding. David, thank you so much in Nanaimo. Nikki is up next now in Vancouver with a question about her Japanese maple. Go ahead, Nikki.
Hi, Brian. My Japanese maple, it's in a pot on my patio, and it's developed cottony maple scale this year. It's the fourth year that I've had it on my patio, and I've got little marshmallow balls underneath the leaves. So I figure it's cottony maple scale, and I'm wondering what I should do.
There's not much that is effective against that we actually have in the market. But Nikki, the very best thing is horticultural oil. If you can get it's available everywhere. It's organic, and there's ratios. There's a dormant ratio, which is quite thick, and a growing season ratio, which is very mild. It's the growing season ratio that we want. And Nikki, while this cloudy weather for the few days we're having right now, perfect time to put it on. You need to use at least 3 different sprays about 5 to 7 days apart under the leaves, of course, but it will not burn the plant if you use the mild growing season ratio. And 3 or 4 times we'll get that completely cleaned up. It works very, very well.
Okay, can I just ask you, I have neem oil, and I put that in water and spray it on. The problem with neem oil is we know anecdotally that it works pretty well, but we don't have any scientific evidence, and that's why our local pest control department in British Columbia took it off the market on garden stores, because we don't have a scientific backup. So okay. I would rather use horticultural oil because we have the evidence. I even use it on tropicals, Nikki. So please stay with the horticultural oil. Is that
there isn't necessarily a brand name. It's just called horticultural oil, and all garden stores carry it. We use it for dormant spraying and for summer spraying. It's the best right now. It's just so good and effective and safe and organic.
Okay. All the best things there, Nikki. Thank you very much. Horticultural oil.
Thank you.
Yeah, and if Brian uses it, you can bet that it works. Okay. Thanks for the call, Nikki. Doug is on the line now in North Van. Hi, Doug.
Hi, Michelle and Brian in BC.
Hi,
hope everyone's doing well.
Oh, and you. Thanks very much for the call.
Yeah, Brian, I have a witch hazel. We've had it in our yard in a small sort of an area beside our deck. And it's got a bit of leaf curl across the whole plant this year. And as well, some of the leaves almost appear like they're turning color towards fall. with just a red tinge around the edge of the leaf. So we tried heavily watering it for an afternoon a couple of days ago, but it's still, like David's tomato plants, it doesn't seem to be bouncing back.
Okay. Very good point, and you're smart, Doug, to give it a thorough drink. And honestly, things are dry out there. They're extremely dry. We're getting a few showers right now, and it's not enough to do anything. So around the drip line of the tree, keep watering it. The other thing is, it's probably like a lot of trees that have been around for a long time. I would love to see you enrich the soil around it. I would put something like sea soil. You don't want to use manures on acid-loving plants, but I would use sea soil around it. And basically, like most of us, to be honest, Doug, we're not feeding it. I would love to see some slow-release fertilizer on that, like a 14-14-14. So it's not in the water. Let's improve the soil by around the drip line of the tree in particular, very, very important, and give it some nutrient. And it will come back, because I've noticed, that's a really good point, Doug. Some in the background areas in our nursery where the irrigation perhaps doesn't reach as much, same thing is happening. So I think it's a water, improving the soil, nutrient issue, and Doug, I think it's going to come back just fine. Just give it a few weeks, and you should be in great shape.
Thanks very much, Michelle and Brian.
Okay. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. And just like the tomatoes, they will bounce back as well, Doug. Good luck to you. Miranda is calling us now with a gardening question for Brian Mincher. Hi, Miranda. Welcome.
Hi. Thank you so much for taking my call, Brian. I'm phoning. I recently bought a bunch of perennial plants from a good nursery, and I brought one of them is a columbine, and I put it in, and I've been watering it vigorously, and it's not doing well. The leaves near the bottom, and now it's moving up, are turning yellow and kind of a purplish color. I did some reading. The only thing that I saw that makes sense to me is that I've actually drowned it. So I'm wondering if Purelite would be good to add, like, underneath the plant, or what you might suggest.
Really good question, Miranda. Instead of, and we're kind of guilty of that sometimes. We want to make sure they get enough water, and sometimes it just gets too wet. And so ease up in the watering, and like we talked initially with David, maybe just dig down with your hands and to see how moist the soil is down there. All the columbine, Aquilegia is incredibly resilient. So you're going to be okay. I'd be inclined to cut the plant back. I'd prune it back, maybe in half at this particular time, allowing the roots to regroup and reform down there. But bark mulch, fir bark mulch, worked into the soil would be better than Purelite. It really is amazing at pulling your roots, getting them established. But also what I love about bark is when there's too much water there, it tends to open the soil so the excess water gets away. So that's what I would do. And I think give it a few days to kind of settle in. But by pruning the foliage back, you're taking all the pressure away from the roots. All they have to do now is get settled, and then Aquilegia will immediately start growing out of the center again. And I think you'll be absolutely fine. And you bring up such a good point, Miranda. We can overwater easily. And remember, overwatering is always worse than underwatering. So that the actions we're going to take right now to get this sorted out should be fine. And I think you know what you're doing, very, very well. So you all should be okay. And give it a few days.
Do I want to work the bark mulch under the roots as well as around them?
Yes, okay. In and around, yes, because you're changing the structure of the soil, allowing better drainage, and the roots love bark. They just go for it like crazy.
Okay, thank you so much.
Oh.
Thanks, Miranda. Good luck.
Good luck, Miranda. Thank you for the call. And a couple more callers here right now. 1-800-825-5950 is our toll-free line, 604-669-3733, or just hit pound 690 on your cell phone to ask a gardening question of Brian Mincher. Let's head to Victoria, and Susan has a question about table grapes. Hi, Susan.
Hi there. Hi. Thank you for taking my call.
Yeah.
You bet.
I'm calling because I have two vines, green and purple table grapes. They're well established, about 12 years old. and they're thriving and healthy. But the grapes, and there seem to be lots of grapes this year, but I'm noticing that the grapes themselves, rather than actually holding their shape, are sort of turning almost like into flowers. And I'm wondering if that's what that might be.
Yeah. Now, at this point here, they're still very, very tiny clusters, right?
Teeny tiny.
They're
Yes.
very, very
Yeah, very
tiny.
small.
Yeah. Now, the other thing is, are they shaded by the foliage? Have you been doing a lot of pruning on the foliage, or are they quite protected from the sun?
I have pruned only back to the first. They are fairly well protected. Some of them are exposed, but the ones that I'm noticing are actually under leaves. So I'm wondering if they should be more exposed.
Okay, and that it's a very good point. When we have those few hot days after a few cool days, it gets very hot. We can get on all fruit. We can get some, basically heat burn, and that happens as well. I'd be inclined on the. They're so resilient and so tough, especially an established vine like you've got right now, and the great roots go forever. So, but are you getting some moisture in amongst the roots?
Yes. Yeah, because there's actually cranberry growing underneath them. So
You've been watering?
I've been watering, yeah.
Yeah, good. So the only thing affecting is the amount of foliage around. And if you've got pretty good foliage, I would take a few leaves out, get more air circulation there, allow, a little more light in there. Those are the only things I would do. It's not a feeding issue on a grape that's established like that at all. So it's got to be, and you've been giving them water. We've looked after that situation. So the only thing I can think of, honestly, Susan, is just opening the area up a little bit more and just keeping an eye on them, because I've noticed we have grapes growing, in our nursery, and they seem to be fine. There's nothing unusual happening this year. So just keep an eye on it, but there's nothing specifically other than, a little bit of pruning of the foliage, get more air and light in. That's all you can really do, Susan, at this point.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Susan, for the question. Alan at Port McNeil. Hi, Alan. Go ahead. What's your question for Brian Minter?
Well, thank you for taking the call.
Yeah.
Our sweet peas germinated quite well, and now they're about 3 or 4 inches tall, and they've stalled. They won't grow any taller, and they've been sitting there for several weeks now without increasing their height at all. And there's a net near them, but I don't know what to attribute this to.
Yeah, a little bit odd. Our problem is we can't stop them. Like, slow down, guys. But
share some of that with Alan. Yeah,
that's right. What are you feeding them, Alan?
Well, we planted them in a mixture of sea soil and other rich soil, and we've given them some 20-20-20 occasionally, but we don't want to overdo it. But and I understood that they needed a rich sort of a composty mix to flourish.
They do love humusy mix, a manure mix. They do love that. What you've done is perfect there. And growing thousands of the darn things, basically it just gives us some more 20-20-20 because it's fast, it works very quickly, and I would do it maybe every 3 or 4 days. It's liquid and it's readily available, but it's just a food issue. The roots aren't catching into the mix, or I don't think there's anything you've done wrong in terms of the sea soil and everything. It sounds great. I just think they're starved. Honestly, that's the only thing I can think of, Alan.
Right. Well, thank you.
Okay, good luck.
Yeah, Alan, thank you very much. And our next caller now for Brian Minter is Cheryl in Abbotsford. Hi, Cheryl.
Hello.
Hello. What's your question for Brian?
Hi, Brian. Yes, I have a peony plant. It's planted in my flower bed. And this year I only got 2 blossoms on it and 1 really dried up, very underdeveloped blossom.
Oh, no.
The plant's about 12 years old.
Okay.
Yep.
What's wrong?
Well, Cheryl, you and I both know that peonies do not want a rich soil. They love basically poor soil. If you give them lots of manures and sea soil and all that sort of stuff, you get foliage, but you don't get the flowers. So what I would suggest at this particular time, because when we have until August and when the leaves start going, that bronze color, I would feed them something like a 10, 15, 19, something that's low in nitrogen but very high in phosphorus and potash, and try and build up that root, so that in fact next year you're going to get more flowers. And I think that's all it's missing. More phosphorus and potash around that plant now would make all the difference in the world.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Good
Thank
luck.
you so much. I'm loving the kind of quick and succinct questions here, Katie, because that means I can get Margaret on the line. Oh, pardon me, that was Cheryl, and now we have Margaret on the line in Vancouver. Hi, Margaret. You want to ask about garlic?
Yes, I do. Our neighbor has it this year. We've had it in the past. We plant hard neck garlic, and then in the spring, maybe a month or two before harvest, some of them will start going flop as if they've got a soft neck.
Yep.
And you get sort of a garlic, but it never is as good. And in fact, our neighbor's almost whole crop, which is quite small, is flopping over as we speak. And I just thought, is there anything we can do, or what causes it?
No, that's a really good point here right now. And we've had great garlic growing weather. It's been absolutely ideal. A little bit of moisture, a little bit of heat, and so on. It's been great. What are you feeding them right now?
Well, personally, I just throw on those little pellets of chicken manure that you can get in a bag.
Yeah.
And normally, seaweed, horse manure, that sort of thing in the fall to prep the garden.
Yeah. Okay. I think, honestly, because those little cloves need to size up and grow, you need to get them some nutrient right now. And I think that's a major problem here, quite frankly. And I would use something like 10, 15, 19. Because you want the high phosphorus and potash again to give the plant more strength. And I think that's the simple issue right now is they need that high phosphorus and potash to strengthen up those stems and the sloppiness. Sometimes you might even consider pruning them back. You're going to miss the scapes and so on, but pruning them back, giving them the 10, 15, 19, making sure when you water thoroughly and let them dry between waterings. And I think we can, Margaret, really do think that, but they're starving for phosphorus and potash is what I really think that's happening.
That will be good for your garlic. Margaret, thank you for the question. And Brian, thank you so much as always. We've got to get our squashes in.
Oh, yes, we do. And parsnips, and don't forget Brussels sprouts, okay?
And pumpkins.
And the pumpkins for the kids, right?
All the good stuff.
Okay.
Brian, have a great weekend.
Thanks, Michelle. Take care.
You too. Brian Minter, our gardening columnist, joining us from Country Garden Limited in Chilliwack. He'll be back in 2 weeks.